Ambalanders, good to be here tonight. I send patriotic salute to all of our dedicated comrades on Ground Zero, the warriors of Batibo, the daredevils of Kembong, those fighting across the breadth of AmbaZonia. I send patriotic greetings to a dedicated patriot in the diaspora whose dedication and patriotism has ensured that this revolution remains at a pedestal of hopefulness and foresight. My fellow AmbaZonians, I have come here tonight to speak to you, to have a conversation about the state of our struggle, the state of our revolution, where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are headed to. Tonight is a special night, but I will be very brief. I want to assure every AmbaZonian, wherever you may be, that the state of our revolution is strong. We are making progress. We are achieving two objectives as set forth when we define the pathway to our freedom. We are making our land ungovernable, and we are increasing the cost of the occupation. Fellow AmbaZonians, I told you before, a revolution doesn't go on a straight line. And I am indebted in gratitude to all those who have stood up in the homeland to hear the patriotic call which we made from New York. The block by block revolution is becoming a reality in our homeland. You are defending your county, you're defending your cities, you're defending your villages, you're fighting La Republique on your own terms in the land of your birth. My gratitude and appreciation to all the warriors and patriot volunteers whose blood has been spilled so AmbaZonia shall be free. And to all of you locked up in jails dotted across La Republique du Cameroon, whose liberty has been taken away from them. Your dedication and patriotism will be registered in the history books of AmbaZonia. Your pride and suffering will be remembered by all those who will walk free into Boya. Your sacrifices today is laying the foundation upon which a new AmbaZonia shall be constructed. In the coming weeks, we are told La Republique might be sentencing Mancho BBC. We know the prosecutor has demanded a life sentence or a death sentence. I'd like to remind La Republique du Cameroon that all those it has kidnapped, all those it has arbitrarily detained in its jails across its country are citizens of AmbaZonia whose only crime has been to rise up against the perpetual injustices that it has perpetrated on them. We ask La Republique to let them go home. And we warn them as we have done before. The crimes you commit against each AmbaZonia, the impunity with which you prosecute the occupation of our homeland, the bestiality that you have used, the disproportionate use of force from Kwakwa to Kembong to Batibo. As the defense chairman said before, we will chase you to the gates of hell. We will hold you accountable now, tomorrow, or in the future. And I want to assure each AmbaZonian, those fighting in their homeland, those defending the plight of our people, whether in the diaspora, that we are keeping a record of the brutality of the system. And we will make sure, in due course, we hold them accountable for the crimes they have committed on each AmbaZonian. Fellow citizens, you have been fighting a good fight, and I appreciate you for your dedication. We are indebted as leaders in gratitude for all the sacrifices you have made. It's a tough call. It's not a walk in the park, as I said in New York. Be reminded against whom we are fighting. Be reminded about what they have to lose if they let AmbaZonia free. Be reminded of the geopolitical and strategic interests of powers beyond our shores. So it's going to be a tough fight. But I am sure, based on facts, based on the records which we have seen on the ground, that we are going to sail through as a people. We might not see Boya as individuals, but AmbaZonia as a people will sail through and institute within our own territorial space political and economic systems that will work for the benefit of AmbaZonia. Monuments that will remember the sacrifices of all those who've laid their lives for a free homeland. Fellow AmbaZonians, we are going through trying moments. The buck stops sometimes with me. It is difficult. It's extremely difficult to prosecute a campaign like this. You lose Ambalanders. You get wounded patriots. You face the mourning of siblings. You face the harsh reality of wives. You face the mourning. You face the tragedies. It is a difficult campaign. But I am optimistic as a soldier of the revolution. I am extremely optimistic that we AmbaZonians will be free. It is not an illusion. It's a fact. The battle scars of all those who keep fighting in Manyo, those who struggle in Meza, those fighting in Lebialem, Fako, Ndian, Kupe Manigoba, Ndonga Amantung Momo, have showed us that every AmbaZonian is dedicated to ensure that Cameroon is booted out of our homeland. But today is a special day. I have also come here to assure our international partners. I understand sometimes when we struggle, we are worried about the outcome. We are scared that we may be free and become a chaotic space in Africa, like South Sudan. We are worried about our economic system, our political system. We are worried about what exactly AmbaZonians stand to benefit after independence. We are worried about international peace and security. First, I would like to assure our international partners that the way we prosecute this campaign is based on our understanding of the kind of systems that might emerge based on what we do today. To ensure that we get to Boya and have a peaceful atmosphere within which to develop potentials to build our society and to be prosperous. We are developing a political system, a prototype political system, a prime ministerial form of governance that does not rest power solely in the hands of the president. We are developing a parliamentary democratic system that would make sure that power is spread across different states. In this way, the sharing of power is going to give us the potential to stabilize our political system and create the economic environment for prosperity. But all of these things that we draft on paper will not be true if we do not start practicing them today. For example, though we find our system now very chaotic, though we think we are divided, sometimes the spirit of competition is healthy for perfection. Sometimes the division we face today help us to develop virtues of compromise, tolerance, and to build consensus in terms of policy formulation and policy implementation. So we are gathering the skills today that will help the leaders of tomorrow to stabilize an AmbaZonian political system so we can achieve economic prosperity and social cohesion. So all what we are doing today in building a constitution for AmbaZonia is to make sure those who will reach Buea and become the governors of our system have a fundamental document upon which they can derive their powers. Unlike post-independence Africa, where political pluralism was destroyed, opposition was treated with scorn and disdain, we want to make sure that post-independence AmbaZonia embraces differences, embraces political pluralism, embraces, opinions of others, so we can compete and be better people within our own space. So all of these things that we are putting here today is to make sure we do not achieve independence and become like South Sudan. We have also studied why South Sudan moved from, the sense of optimism to the sense of hopelessness in post-independence South Sudan. We realize that when you fight an oppressive system and you become free and you move into governance with the same mentality of intolerance, you create stagnation, political differences sometimes become prospect within which you cannot achieve economic prosperity. So we are trying to make sure we prosecute the liberation of our homeland, respecting international humanitarian law, respecting international human rights law. By adhering to international norms, we learn and we teach ourselves the values that we want to embrace once we become independent. So I want to let our international partners to understand we are conscious of the need today to seek compromises within our own selves so that after independence we can use those skills that we have gathered today to engage in building a stable political system that will guarantee for our people the kinds of political institutions and freedoms which they aspire for. AmbaZonia is in a strategic location in Africa. AmbaZonia is in a strategic location in the Central African sub-region. And we understand that it is going to be a hub for international business. And so political stability post-independence is quite important. We are also making sure that today we prosecute this liberation respecting international values. We do not want to do to La République what we don't want them to do against us. And so issues of international security, issues of national security are of great importance in the way we conduct ourselves today. So that AmbaZonia is not seen as a failed state or a terrorist state or a state that supports international terrorism. We want to make sure that we conduct this revolution with respect for international norms of human rights and international humanitarian law. So we will guarantee for international businesses, for investors, whether private or in the public sector, a peaceful economic environment within which they can make investment. We will develop our educational system, our economic system, to give to our people the basic skills they need to be able to build our own economy and compete at the global level. And if we acquire the skills, we will invite international investment so that we can create jobs and opportunities for our people. So I am sending this message to our international partners to know that post-independence AmbaZonia will be stable, will be free, will have a tax code that is liberal in nature, protecting the local so that we will be able to compete with the global. We believe in globalization, where you strengthen local capacity, you develop local skills, local industries, so that you will be able to compete with international systems. We also want to assure all those partners around AmbaZonia, Nigeria in particular, despite some of the differences that we experience today, AmbaZonians are close to Nigerians. Nigeria will become one of our biggest economic partners. We have shared values, shared norms, shared culture. I want to assure every Nigerian living in AmbaZonia that you shall find a home in AmbaZonia. You shall find a space within which to trade, to engage in business and commerce. We frown very strongly against the Buhari government. We frown very strongly against their attitude of rendition for taking our people out of our homeland. Fellow citizens, at this particular moment, we want to separate Nigerians as citizens and the Buhari government. We reject strongly the attitude of the Buhari government in exercising rendition by transferring AmbaZonians from Nigeria to Cameroon, where they would likely be tortured, face unfair trials. But we are bound as a matter of geography and as a matter of culture to remain engaged with ordinary Nigerians for the prosperity of AmbaZonia. Fellow citizens, we are also faced with internal dynamics in this struggle. Very difficult internal dynamics. But in the past week, we have shown that those internal differences can be resolved. In the creation of ARC, we show that the differences amongst the leaders can be put aside for the interests of AmbaZonia once we sit on the same table, have discussions in good faith, make compromises, respect each other, and agree to work together where we agree and go our separate ways where we disagree. That is the foundation upon which ARC has been constructed. And I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the chairlady of ARC and to express my support and the support of the AmbaZonian Governing Council to our leadership. Congratulations, chairlady. You are a trailblazer. For the first time, we have a woman with qualities, with foresight and a vision to lead a conglomerate, a group of organizations that people thought could not come together. We are indebted in gratitude to all those who made it happen. I also want to make it very clear that the AmbaZonian Governing Council under my leadership will not tolerate at this particular moment in our struggle the kinds of attitude that have led to the arrest, kidnapping of our citizens. We warn all those who are engaged in nefarious acts, internal sabotage, blackmail, and all the vices that have boggled this struggle down, that we will hold you responsible for the lives of our people lost. It is important that we conduct ourselves as leaders with a high sense of integrity, putting AmbaZonia first, cooperate where we can, tolerate one another, believe in pluralism, tolerate freedom of speech, freedom of association, respect the political platform of other groups work tirelessly in areas where we agree to work together, support each other when we disagree. And we should stop undermining the effort of others. We should stop arrogating to ourselves powers we do not have. We should stop the sabotage, the blackmail that have hindered progress in this struggle. My fellow AmbaZonians, the weeks ahead and the months ahead will be trying for AmbaZonia. But I am dedicated, like every other leader in ARC, Bo Herbert, Akwanga Ebenezer, Ngang, Terence of AmbaZonia, Abu Free of the Southern Cameroon's Women's Movement. We are all dedicated to work together, to build bridges where there are valleys, to compromise with each other, to strengthen each other's capacity, to build trust amongst ourselves as leaders, so we can speed up the day that we terminate the presence of Cameroon in our homeland. This is a promise we have made to ourselves. This is a promise we are making to AmbaZonians. And I hope that any other group existing within this political space will adopt that same stature, that of compromise and tolerance and the ability to work together with others, to reject the aspect of domination and intolerance within our political space. That is the only way we can assure that we reach Boya and build a stable economic and political system within which AmbaZonians can thrive. Fellow AmbaZonians, the fight for our liberation will continue. We have said before, we are facing a beast in our homeland. We have said before, we are facing an intolerant political system bent on the occupation and the destruction of AmbaZonia. We have said before, we are facing a system that does not believe in dialogue and compromise as patterns in the resolution of political conflict. We have said before that Cameroon believes in armed resistance. Cameroon believes in the occupation of AmbaZonia using disproportionate force. It will be wrong to tell our people to wait until we build an army. Every AmbaZonian is a soldier of the revolution. Every AmbaZonian is called upon, wherever you may be, to defend your block, to defend your villages, to defend your cities. That is the only way we can terminate the occupation of our homeland. In the past few months, we have humbled Cameroon. In the past few months, we have defeated them in major battles. In the past few months, we have shown Cameroon that we are more powerful. We are more united in our objective. We are more united when we fight them in our homeland. And we must continue with this same spirit of defiance. We must continue in this same spirit of resistance. Everywhere in AmbaZonia, we must put fear in the minds of the enemy. We must fight them from our quarters. We must reject them from our neighborhood. We must push them out from our villages. We must increase the cost of the occupation until Cameroon has nothing more to benefit from AmbaZonia. That is the only time they are going to set us free. And I think from what we have achieved thus far, from the defense perspective, we are winning. We are winning, AmbaZonians. And we should not give up, despite the kidnappings, despite the arrest, despite the deprivation of liberty. We have shown Cameroon that AmbaZonia belongs to us. and that we will not surrender our land to an occupying regime that extracts our own resources to develop its own capabilities and leave us in perpetual poverty. We cannot surrender to a system that means us no good, that kills Mami Api, that burns our villages, burns our skins. We will not surrender to a system that for 56 years has not given us hope. AmbaZonians, fighting is our only choice. And I can assure you that the treasury of La République du Cameroon is empty. The morals of their soldiers fighting in AmbaZonia is down. Their international support is also going down. You must remain dedicated. You must remain committed. You must remain steadfast in your desire to push out the enemy from Ambaland. You must fight them with every tool you have. You must make AmbaZonia ungovernable for the occupier. You must increase the cost of the occupation. You must engage in economic sabotage to make sure they don't take our timber, extract our oil. You must make sure their civil administrators find no space in Ambaland. They cannot govern us from within AmbaZonia. It is the land of your birth. It is your last refuge. You cannot, AmbaZonians, surrender it to the enemy. It is the only thing you can bequeath to the next generation. And they should know from history books that you stood, that you fought, that you bled, that you lost your life, that you went to jail to make sure that you can bequeath to the next generation a more stable, prosperous, and politically free country. God bless you all and good night.